The Trojan horse is one of history's most famous tricks. The ancient myth holds that the Trojan horse enabled the Greeks to finally conquer Troy, although historians disagree whether this fabled wooden beast ever existed. Whether the Trojan horse existed or not, its significance in history cannot be disputed. Let us take a deeper look into the true existence of the Trojan horse. Homer's epic poem, the Odyssey, written approximately 800 BCE, some centuries after the Trojan War, has the first ever recorded reference to the Trojan horse. The Trojan horse tale may have originated in Homer's imagination or been derived from oral tales passed down through the ages. What exactly is the Trojan War? Greek authors dated the Trojan War, a legendary struggle between the early Greeks and the inhabitants of Troy in western Anatolia, to the 12th or 13th century BCE. The Iliad and the Odyssey by Homer and several other early works now lost commemorated the conflict. This inspired the ancient Greeks' imagination more than any other event in history. According to historical traditions, Menelaus of Sparta's brother Agamemnon later led a Greek expedition against Troy after Paris, son of the Trojan king, fled with Helen, his wife. The following war continued for 10 years when the Greeks pretended to leave and left behind a giant wooden horse with a raiding party hidden within. The unnoticed Greeks allowed their allies to enter when the Trojans brought the horse into their city, allowing them to take over Troy, murder its inhabitants, and kidnap its women. As per ancient Greek history, the Trojan horse permitted the war-weary Greeks to penetrate the city of Troy and finally win the Trojan War. According to legend, Odysseus ordered the construction of the horse and concealed it inside its frame with several other men to eventually lay siege to the city. Its creation and intent were so epic that they were permanently preserved in classical works. But was it even real? Historians have recently questioned if the extravagant display of Grecian military power was nothing more than a fantasy created to elevate the Greek army beyond the simple mortals they were. Some classists contend that the Greek army did employ a battering ram-style siege engine and claim that the Trojan horse was more of a metaphor than anything else. The Aeneid, a work of epic poetry by the Roman poet Virgil from the Augustan era, was written in 29 BC. It was one of the rare instances of the Trojan horse mentioned in antiquity. According to Virgil's story account, a Greek soldier named Sinon persuaded the Trojans that he and his troops had abandoned and that the Greeks had returned home. Yet he said his soldiers had left behind a horse as a tribute to the Greek goddess Athena. After the Trojans destroyed her country, Sinon said his army was trying to win the goddess's favor. Yet Laocoon, a priest of the Trojans, instantly noticed that something was off. According to the Aeneid, he attempted to alert his fellow Trojans to the looming peril, but it was too late. The tale of the Trojan horse was created. The horse had invaded Troy. Before the Aeneid, a drama called The Trojan Women by Euripides also alluded to the Trojan horse as well. Poseidon, the Greek deity of the sea, addressed the audience at the beginning of the play, which was first composed around 415 BC. The horse is a sign of the impending success over failure in both the play and the poetry. Pausanias, a Greek wanderer and geographer who lived in the 2nd century AD during Marcus Aurelius's Roman rule, was the first historian to dispute the Trojan horse's existence. Pausanias recounts a horse that carried Greek soldiers built of bronze rather than wood in his book, Description of Greece. He wrote, "There is the horse named Wooden put up in bronze." But according to legend, the horse held the most courageous Greeks, and the bronze figure's design fits nicely with the tale. Before we move back onto the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel and turn the post notification on. Was there really a Trojan War? Once Homer wrote his Iliad, ancient authors tried distinguishing fact from fiction. Most of them thought that the events in the poem were largely true, but the effects of the war were still felt in Greek society. To purportedly atone for a crime committed by their ancestors during the assaults to conquer the city, one region, Locri, continued to send some of its women to Troy to serve as priestesses of the Temple of Athena throughout antiquity. Even a millennium later, Alexander the Great made careful to visit the remnants of Troy on his journey to conquer Asia and reputedly gathered up Greek armor left there from the conflict. The tale captivated the Romans as well. According to their epic stories, their ancestor was a Trojan survivor named Aeneas who so happened to migrate to Italy. The Aeneid, an epic poem by Virgil, was centered on this legend. What year did the Trojan War occur? According to Paul Cartledge, a former A.G. Leventis professor of Greek culture at the University of Cambridge, quote, "Dating the epics and their content is a matter of debate," end quote. The Trojan War was fought between 1194 and 1184 BC, a date widely accepted by certain modern researchers. There must have been a Troy if there was a Trojan War, right? Certainly, Troy, which is today located in western Turkey, was a real city in antiquity. The ancient city of Troy was significant and renowned for its advantageous position at the intersection of crucial trade routes. Throughout its history, the city was often destroyed and rebuilt before being abandoned in the 14th century. Although historians and archaeologists disagree on whether the Trojan War happened, it's generally acknowledged that the city of Troy existed. Since ancient times, a place in northwest Turkey named Hisarlik has been regarded as being identical to the Troy that we all know about. Evidence suggests that once each city was destroyed, a new one was established atop the prior. For this reason, Troy VII is the tier in which the Trojan War took place. Heinrich Schliemann found a hoard of goods at the site, including swords and spears, copper and bronze, and gold and silver during the site's excavation in 1873. Although Schliemann believed these to be King Priam's wealth, it was later discovered that these artifacts were from a much earlier period. Today's archaeological discoveries demonstrate that Troy VII was attacked and destroyed in 1190 BC, which is roughly when Homer dates the war. This evidence makes a compelling case that some type of war is to blame for the destruction of Troy VII. The renowned conflict between the Trojans and the Greeks over control of Troy was a great epic. While some think it's nothing more than fiction, much as the mythology it's based upon, others think the war and the heroes who fought in it genuinely took place. The latter was validated during the 19th century. According to evidence, there are 9 Troys, each constructed atop a predecessor's ruins. For the location of the Iliad of Homer, the 7th layer is the most probable. Why do historians think the Trojan horse was a myth? Dr. Armand Angawa of Oxford University clarified it more recently in 2014. The wooden horse is an imaginable fable that may have been inspired by how ancient siege engines were covered in damp horse hides to prevent them from being set afire, the author claimed in the university newsletter. Archaeological evidence shows that Troy was indeed burned down, he wrote. Archaeologists in Turkey, however, discovered dozens of wooden planks dating back thousands of years in the hills of Hisarlik in August of 2021. This area is typically thought to have been the site of the ancient city of Troy. Notwithstanding the doubts of many historians, those archaeologists were fairly certain they had discovered the bones of the Trojan horse itself. The phrase Trojan horse is still in use today, regardless of whose version of the narrative you choose to believe. But more recently, the term Trojan horse, or simply Trojan, has come to describe computer malware that deceives users about its true purpose. When a Trojan hijacks your computer, it's susceptible to other invader infections that might compromise your personal information and make you a target for hacking and other crimes. Perhaps Ken Thompson, a computer scientist who originally used the term in the 1980s, will be regarded by historians in the future in the same way that Virgil and Pausanias are now. And that will be all for today. We hope you liked our video about the true existence of the Trojan horse. For more similar videos, do check out our channel. Remember to subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell notification so that you won't miss anything, and we'll see you next time.